Seahurst Park is on unceded Coast Salish territory. Over the past 2 years, I've been slowly learning how to appreciate Seahurst and learning how to identify its different parts, both from my 5-year-old son, who went to school there, and a fellow parent, Ira Chica. Ira taught the kids to count in Lashutsi and came in once a week to teach them about plants. The next year, Ira and her twin sons moved on to kindergarten, but her impact changed the curriculum of the school, Tiny Trees, forever. Tiny Trees does a land acknowledgement now to start circle time and is always striving to be more inclusive. Before colonization, this stretch of beach was used specifically for hunting, fishing, foraging, and temporary encampments. But how do we quantify what a temporary encampment entails? Were there root gardens here before occupation? Did the tribes use this beach as a clam garden? How did they manage the forest here before it was colonized and logged? Its central location likely meant it was visited by more than one tribe, though the tribe acknowledged most often is the Duwamish. A seawall was constructed on Seahurst Beach in around 1972 before being torn down in 2013. The construction of the seawall degraded the beach to a point where salmon populations were very negatively impacted and there wasn't any beach left for visitors. It's interesting to look at the variety of species and kinds in the park and wonder what the space feels like for them now versus how it felt before colonization, and how the level and kinds of engagement impact that understanding. And looking at the ecology of Seahurst, it's been really interesting to view the landscape through different lenses. 3 important frames of reference within Seahurst are Indigenous people's time, plant, animal, and soil time, and living ethical responsibilities and possibilities time. Moving through the space, I am thinking of the ways that colonization completely upended the indigenous relationships in the space with each other and with plants in intersection with the way that the removal of the seawall changed the relationship of plants, animals, soil, or sand, with the space and with the people who visit the park. I'm viewing the site thinking about the indigenous sense of belonging before colonization versus after colonization, and how that has changed since the removal of the seawall and restoration of indigenous plants. I'm also observing the people enjoying the beach with the understanding that the beach has only existed here again for 7 years. Seahurst is also the home to a beautiful preschool experience, and the way that those children get to experience the park opens up options for living ethically that have never existed in this space before. And as I say that, I have to quantify it to say that those opportunities have never existed in this space since it has been colonized. Because even now, Seahurst and Tiny Trees are colonial constructs. While Seahurst allows foraging for tiny trees and other specialized groups, it is not inherently allowed, and it isn't clear how Coast Salish people would go about seeking that permission. The revitalization of the Seahurst beach has mirrored the revitalization of the Lashutsi language. It feels uncomfortably disjointed to call this beach revitalized without a single acknowledgement that this place of leisure is on stolen land. The removal of the seawall began a process of reconnecting parts of the ecology that had been severed. That repair process positively affected both people and fish, but did not do enough to restore the connection to the plants or to Coast Salish people. When I envision a future for Seahurst Park, it involves advancing what Ira began with the Environmental Science Center and creating policy and signage around indigenous uses of the site, past and future. Seahurst was once a place that supported the well-being of the Coast Salish peoples, and now they are largely removed from their ancestral land. It is important that when people come to places like Seahurst Park, they learn something new about indigenous ways of knowing. What is for you cannot be taken. It is a complex landscape out here. It is easy to slip and land in a place of covetousness, to get sidestepped and compare our actual work in real time to someone else's virtual timeline, to cling so tight that we forget the simple truth that nothing can enter a closed hand. The work I do is uncharted territory for me and many. There is no blueprint, map, or GPS for how to get where I am going. I have to rely on my inner compass. The effectiveness of that compass depends on the clarity of my vision, my ability to see at any given moment a thing or person, including myself, for what it really is. Grasping, comparing, and clinging are very human responses to living and working with the unknowns that come when we step outside of our own and chart a fresh path. Yet, those things don't support more clarity. They crowd and cloud the windows of our minds, hearts, and eyes. In this way, it keeps us from fully seeing what we have, connecting to what we truly desire versus what we think we should want, and connecting to what is ours and what belongs to us. It also costs us energy that we could otherwise use to bring our full vision to fruition. My mommy used to say, "What God has for you is for you. Can't nobody fake it or take it." When we bravely focus on our true path, we will see what is both present in front of us, what belongs to us, and what is real. Everything else is a distraction.